What's up, buttercups? So this is the next video from the Dubuque Museum of Art Adventures program. My name is Caitlin Donald. I am the Education Fellow at the museum, and I hope that you have a lot of fun learning today. So the next couple of videos are inspired by Earth Day, and today's topic is all about creativity and recycling and how the two can interact. Why would we recycle? Well, this is Timmy, and Timmy has a bunch of stuff. I have a bunch of stuff. You have a bunch of stuff. Your parents have a bunch of stuff. Your dog probably has a bunch of stuff, right? Humans in general make a lot of stuff. And the problem is that stuff doesn't really go away, and it gets everywhere. It fills up landfills, it fills up forests, fills up oceans, but luckily we have recycling, and recycling starts to do this. It starts to take away some of that stuff and reuse it for other things, so we don't have as much waste. Creative thinking helps us find new ways to recycle. So creative thinking is important. So some things to think about in this video as I go on. We're going to do 2 crafts later, but for right now, I want you to think about, 1, how to look a little closer at something, how to look at an object that could possibly be used again. And again, if you make something out of a plastic bottle, is it going to save all the ocean from the hundreds of other plastic bottles? No, it's not. But it'll help, right? And that's where we can be creative and try and figure out how to help that solution by using our super smarts. The other thing that I would like to talk to you guys about is what you make matters. So what you as an artist make matters. Your perspective matters, your art matters. But never forget that what your artwork is made out of matters too. And to illustrate this, I'm going to tell you guys a story. So once upon a time, a long time ago, even though this is a true story, but we'll say once upon a time. Once upon a time, there was a man named Frederick Bopple. And Frederick Bopple made buttons. That was his artwork, making buttons. He made these very beautiful, very ornate buttons. And he came to the United States, and he found freshwater mussels, which are like those clam shells that you can find in the Mississippi. And he started making pearl buttons. He started making buttons out of clam shells, mussels, and freshwater mussels. And that was his way of expressing himself creatively. His buttons became crazy popular. So everyone wanted his buttons because they were so pretty. They were the prettiest buttons of all the buttons. And long story short, the Midwest became the button capital of the world, which is a weird trophy to hold, but it's true. The industry boomed, and all these people started making buttons out of these freshwater mussels. Cut to today, and we have about 70%-ish of the freshwater mussel species. About 70% of this animal group is endangered and not doing well. Some of them are extinct because this guy wanted to make something pretty. And I think that that's a really important message. He's not a bad person. He wasn't doing this intentionally. He just wanted to make something. And so because of that, it became a problem for something else because of what he was making his buttons out of, what his artwork was made out of. And so as artists, I think it's very important to realize what you're making and why you're making it, but also realize what is your art made out of and what is it doing to the world. So with that, we'll start with 2 crafts. So we're going to do 2 crafts. One is trash stamps, which is really fun. I like it because it makes you focus on texture. And it's also very, very common, so you might have already done it, but you can try and be creative and do something different if you have. You're going to need cardboard, scissors, crazy amounts of artistic passion, glue, regular glue works just fine, Elmer's, tacky glue, glue sticks, ink pads or paint, and then finally trash. So you have your cardboard. Thicker is going to be better. Thicker is not going to bend as much when you put pressure on it, but it doesn't have to be thick. I am making 2 stamps. So I'm going to have 2 big squares cut out of cardboard, and then I want 4 tiny squares cut out of cardboard. So those 4 tiny squares, those are going to be my back. So that's what I'm going to hold on to when I'm moving my stamp up and down on the paper. You're going to take 1 tiny square and just glue it right on top of another tiny square. And again, you can use whatever glue you want. I just had a glue stick lying around, so that's what I used. But tacky glue, Elmer's glue, fabric glue, anything kind of works pretty well. And it's like non-toxic and safe and all that jazz. So once you have your little squares glued together, now you're going to take them and you're going to glue them on the back of your stamp. Just like this. And again, this is going to be the back. This is going to be what you're holding on to. And you're going to want to kind of wait for it to dry depending on what you used. So now you get to go find your trash. I want you guys to focus on textures. So the trash you get for your stamps, it's got to be relatively flat. Not a lot of up and down. I end up using a hair tie and some tin foil, which you'll see in a little bit. But I want you guys to focus on different textures. So does it have kind of a natural texture? Does it have a very streamlined kind of mechanical texture? So for my trash, I have a hair tie and some tin foil. I have very thick hair, so I have a ton of broken hair ties everywhere. But what you'll see is I'm just going to cut it up into little segments and kind of use those segments as my own way of drawing lines, essentially. I kind of wanted this one to be a little bit more uniform. So I wanted this one to be kind of rigid and straight, kind of like a very regular type of pattern. And again, you can do this with anything. You can do this with string. You can do this with glue. You can do this with a lot of stuff. So you can let that dry. And I encourage you to do your own. Find your own textures around. See what things would look like stamped. So then I have my tin foil, and I'm crushing it, and I'm folding it, and I'm trying to get as much texture as I can. And kind of creating more of a random texture, right? So we have our very straight texture that's a pattern. And now we have a very kind of more natural, like it kind of reminds me of like a rock. And so we have a very kind of more natural, random stamp. So then I'm just going to cut the sides because I don't want the sides to be all around. So then I'm going to do that. Fold them over so it doesn't just come off because it is metal, so it's not, tacky glue isn't exactly the best for metal, for aluminum. And again, you're just going to let that dry. So then, once you have them all dry, you can start stamping. Stamp pads are way easier than paint because paint is not going to come off eventually. It's going to stick. This is my aluminum foil one. It's very, I like to call it quiet because you can't really see it, but it just adds a little bit of something to the paper. And then this one is my hair tie one, and to me this looks like purple tree bark. But you can stamp. You can make a background, or you can do, so for instance, this kind of looked like like I said, like tree bark to me. So I started just drawing tree bark. But you can make a whole bunch of different things with your stamps. So, craft number 2. A plastic bottle piggy bank. It's something that you can either make what I'm making, but you can also go crazy with it. You can save up money for all the amazing art supplies that you're going to make for all your amazing artwork. The stuff you're going to need is going to be glue, scissors, and decorations. You can make your own decorations, or you can, if you want to buy them, you can, but you can make your own. I believe in you guys. And you're going to need a crazy amount of excitement and a plastic bottle. So you get your bottle. Mine is green. It's a lemon bottle. And then you're going to put your bottle in its birthday suit. So you're going to take that plastic coating, that plastic kind of marketing stuff off your bottle. Then you're going to cut a little square, like a little rectangle in the top. And I drew it because it makes it easier. But that's where your money will go. So once you have your hole for your hard-earned art supplies money, then you can just start decorating. I'm making a bird because I dig birds, but you can make whatever. And you don't have to make, you don't have to make an animal. You can make a building, or does your bottle remind you of a car? Does it remind you of a train? What about a tree or a cloud? You can make whatever you want. So I'm going to give her a beak, and then I'm going to call it Dunsies for her. I'm going to name her Melinda. Melinda, the lemon bottle piggy bank for art supplies. And we're going to give her some pennies, so she has a brain of pennies. And I'm going to be able to buy so many oil pastels. So other stuff that you can do that's just real simple is you can finish the broken object. So if something breaks, you don't have to throw it away necessarily right away. You can kind of make up your own drawing of whatever you think that object should look like. You can also do this, and this just saves on materials. So again, we're talking about not wasting things. So if you add water to markers that you think are dead and don't have enough ink, you can make your own watercolor. And then the last thing is you can make a mosaic out of bottle caps. And this is cool. You can look this up online or do whatever. People make chairs. People make whole building walls out of bottle caps. And they make these beautiful images. So you can make your own, which would be really cool. Could you imagine a driveway filled with your own bottle cap mosaic? So I think that's it for this video. I will see you guys later. I hope you make some of these projects and have a good day. All right. Peace out.